Okay, so maybe you're staying in, or maybe you like to go out. But as a society, why do we make it such a big deal about New Year's Eve?
Do you know what? I think one of the reasons why is because we like that idea of newness coming. Do you know what I mean? Like it
Okay.
feels like there's this brand new thing is coming, and even though I guess mostly it's like a mental thing because literally if it's on a Saturday, the next day is going to be Sunday, like it has been Sunday every other day after Saturday. But there's just something that feels like we're starting something brand new, and I think everyone likes the idea of like a new beginning. But I think there's also the idea that it's a celebration as well. Like everybody loves a celebration, and New Year's is just another chance to kind of get in on that celebration, to have a good time, to be festive or whatever. So yeah, I think that's the reason why as a society we're just so obsessed with New Year's.
Well, I read a really interesting article on a website called Psychology Today, and they suggested that our need to celebrate New Year's is related to our primal instinct of survival. They said that,
Oh.
we measure 365 days in chronological order, and the celebration is not really like bringing in the new year. It's because we need to recognize the fact that we survived the one that just happened. And I just thought that was really, really interesting. But through through the lens of capitalism,
Oh, we're
if we're
starting off
being
the New Year
completely
strong,
honest,
obviously.
if we're being honest though, I think that when we put this kind of pressure, we put this pressure to celebrate, and we make these holidays meaningful because we want people to like join the scramble to not be left out. And we all know like how the prices go up in New Year's. Like your New Year's taxi is going to be more expensive, and your New Year's ticket is going to be more expensive. Like through that lens, it is just another way of like us being able to spend our money. Otherwise, I think the pressure probably wouldn't be on the type of New Year's celebrations that you have, because people want you to go to the club and want you to be drinking champagne and want you to buy a glittery dress. And I realized that, this New Year's, for obvious reasons, is going to be the first New Year's that I haven't gone out since I was 18. So every year I've been doing that. I've been getting the New Year's tickets and buying something glittery and going out. And I think that kind of plays into why we are made to feel like we should be doing something, because it keeps, the money going round as well.
I can't believe
Well,
you've been out every year since you were 18.
well, I was
Like, you've
going
not
to
taken
ask.
one break? No, just like an honest question.
I didn't go out 0 to 17 though. So I stayed on 0 to
Oh, so you're making up for it. You're making up for
Do you know
it.
what? Do you know what? I'm not gonna. I will not penalise you for that.
Yeah, because all my friends were going to house parties when I was 15, 16, 17, bringing the new year, and I just stayed with my family. So when I was 18, I was like, this was
Never
fun.
again.
And
Why do you make it
we
sad?
had Christmas, so
And has your New Year's ever lived up to like the expectation of it? Like since you've been doing it since you're 18, has it always been the best bringing to the New Year's, or have you felt disappointed by it?
ironically, 2020's New Year's was the best New Year's I've ever had. It was the best. And it was kind of like, I don't want to be like, oh, it was a movie, but
It was a movie.
It was a movie. It was like, it was one of those very perfect nights where everyone is getting along with everyone, like all the interactions that we had, even if they were on accident, they were fun and they were good. And it was just really perfect, because I started off at work and my manager was really sweet. He let me drink at work, so we were all drinking, we all opened some bottles and we were drinking at work. And then one of my close friends came to meet me, and then it was the best. It was literally the best night to bring in the worst year.
So basically, we're dealing with the consequences of your New Year's.
Yeah, I
Your
had
New Year's
to
was so
even
great.
it.
We've had to like suffer entire 2020. Let's just make that very clear. No problem. 2021. I hope you had a rubbish New Year's,
Don't
Luanda. So
say
2021
that.
can be even better for the rest of us.
Stop it. I still have plans. I'm still sad. I really like New Year's though. Like, I know I said the thing about capitalism, and I recognize that, it plays a part in all of our holidays, but I really like New Year's. And so I'm still going to celebrate it. I'm just not going to be out.
But you see, that feeling that you were talking about, Luanda, at your last New Year's, I think that's what a lot of people feel. They're almost like chasing that high of New Year's. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, they want that epic moment. Now, personally, for me, I think I mix bag it every couple of years. Sometimes I go out, sometimes I stay in. But when I go out, I never actually go out to the club because I can't deal with the crowds and standing in a line in the cold. It's just not for me. So I'll go to more like house parties and things like that. But I try not to do anything for New Year's. I've been quite intentional about that for the last couple of years because I don't like all the pressure and the angst that is just put on this one solid night. Like it has, like, you know, the pressure's like, it has to bang. It has to bang. And it's so much pressure. It gets into your head. You can't even think, am I having a good time? I don't know. Like, you know what? It's personally too much for me. And the reason why is because it's meant to feel like a release, but almost like a rebirth all at the same time. Like, it's releasing you from whatever crap happened to you this year that you didn't like, but rebirthing you into something nice, new and shiny as you walk into the new year, more confident, more happy, just more everything. And that's like a very tense moment to have all in one night. So for me, I just stay home and I watch TV. I don't even go on social media because I don't want to see the Happy New Year's, nothing. I stay home, stay off social media, watch TV. I don't even have a drink. I just treat it like every other night.
Do you know what? I think that's really funny considering how much you love Christmas. And then like a week later, you're like, nothing is going on. I will not celebrate this holiday. But I think I was reading an article and it was saying that most people feel the way you do, Anissa. And I felt that as well, like really let down by it. And they're saying like from the studies that they did, the majority of people had a better time if they just stayed at home and celebrated it because the pressure to have a good New Year's is so high. And for me, my worst New Year's was a few years ago, and I was supposed to go to this rooftop party in Brixton. I don't go raving anymore, but I'm like, it's a rooftop. It's going to be like a celebration. And I haven't been raving in years and years and years. But the way they sold it was like, it's going to be food. There's going to be like a nice vibe. People are going to be chilling, blah, blah, blah. It was just a lot of very, very drunk people, like drinks spilling, people stepping on my toes. I'm like, I'm just not used to that anymore because I haven't been doing that kind of whole scene. And then it was the reason why I went because Fat Man Scoop was going to be there. And I was kind of like, oh, this is cool. So I went along to that. But then when he came out, he had a set because they're like, come see Fat Man Scoop. Like that was the whole selling point. And then he done like a 10-minute set, 20 minutes maximum for the whole night, just at New Year's, and then went off just afterwards. And he played the oldest soundtrack ever, like from when I was about 12, 11. I'm like, most of the people don't even know what these songs are, like some very, very old school, like rap and stuff. And then me and Jonathan literally stayed, kissed at midnight, and we're like, you ready? You ready? And we just went home, sat down, had a takeaway, and I'm just like, yeah. And then we had to walk from the station because the cabs were so much, and it was only black cabs around my home. It wasn't the best. So I think I'm here for like the at-home, sit down, watch a TV marathon, like a Marvel marathon. That's what I do. Have some good takeaway and just chill.
Sophie, I'm not going to let you do Fat Man Scoop like this, okay? Were the old hip-hop songs or whatever songs he played, were they like nostalgic songs? Did they used to really go up in his day?
Look, let me just say, yeah, I love old school R&B. Like, I have my family laughs at me because I'm basically in a time warp for music. Like, I really only listen to the music from my gen, like from when I was growing up. So I have not an issue, but he was playing some old school rap that was like niche. I'm just like,
fair.
And I'm fine with it because I know it, but I think everyone else was kind of like, what?
What's some more commercial stuff?
It was no commercial. He was playing like hardcore old school rap. And I'm wow, we're doing that tonight? And because it's Brixton is gentrified to the most. So it was majority white people there, very few black. I'm like, you're playing to the wrong crowd. He was obviously there to get a check. I'm not lying to you guys. He put in a USB and then just started playing the tracks. There was no decks, I was just like, guys,
he was scratching on the
£100 per
decks
ticket because we bought them late, and I was just like, nah, this was a letdown.
Oh
yeah,
man.
that for £100 fair. I'm not gonna lie to you, girl.
I think it's like ironic that we're talking about, you know, the pressure of New Year's making the night bad, because after we had the, you know, literally the best New Year's bringing in 2020, because we went to like a big rave, but you know, when just like small things just line up and work out for you, like there was a huge queue, but we managed to like sneak our way in seconds before the countdown and just things like that. So it was just really, really good. But then my friends, because we all had such a good time and we like merged like 3 friendship groups together, the friendship group that was closest to me, they were like so adamant on trying to recreate that night, because they were like, wow,
no.
this was great. Because for me, like I feel like I'm towards the end of my raving career. I've had a good run. And you know, after I've had such a bang in 2020, I'm kind of feeling like I'm going to move with you, Anissa. I'm going to move to the house parties with you, because I love a house party.
Same.
I'm at the end of my raving career, but a couple of my friends, it was like their first one, and because it was such a good night, they just wanted to rave again, and so they kept being like, let's go, when's the next rave, let's go to this one. They invited me out to a rave, and I was like, guys, I can't go, I've got work, so I'm just gonna, you know, go to bed. They had a terrible night, they had a worst night, and they had the worst night ever, and we still talk about it. So I think there is definitely something about like putting pressure on, this has to be good and this is going to be good, that makes it bad, when if we kind of are a little bit more relaxed, like, you know, I hope it's good, but if it's not, then it's not, you know, the end of the world, it's just another night, then I think you have more of a chance to like enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
I definitely want that movie moment that you speak about, Luanda. I just don't want all the pressure. Like, it would be like the most ideal New Year if I could feel like I was dancing into a better tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Just carefree and my life's about to be amazing. Like, I would love that feeling. I just cannot take the physical pressure of it all. And like Sophie, I don't mind being around drunk people, but like the idea of doing that on New Year's isn't really for me. But when I was really thinking about why people make such a big deal about New Year's, it really touched my mind that sometimes I think it's a bit of a cultural thing. So when I'm even thinking about New Year's, not our specific New Year, but if you're thinking about like Chinese New Year, that is like the biggest celebration like in China, and they have great traditions. Everyone, listen, I want their traditions. Everyone gets a little red envelope with the money. Like, that's my bag. And so for them, it's important because it's about like honoring their family and their ancestors and their gods. And so it's like a massive deal to them. And so when I thought about it, I thought, okay, culturally, I guess it's kind of like Christmas, Easter, and everything wrapped up into one. And maybe for people, they see, I guess, the more Western New Year's a little bit like that as well. And maybe that's why it's such a big deal to them. That's what I was thinking.
I think that cultural angle is so important, because I think merging together what you said and what Luanda said, because Luanda talked about it from the capitalism point of view, and you're talking about it from like the cultural point of view, and just thinking about when we take away all the, you know, the need to spend money on making the night good, and look at what different cultures have really thought what the new year meant and represented to them. So they're saying the Jews would see it as a time to offer forgiveness because it's a New Year's, like Babylonians would then go and return things, anything that they've borrowed throughout the year. And people had all these really lovely traditions. Like they said, the Dutch cook donuts because the donut represents wholeness, and now you're starting whole again into the new year. So I think it also gives us time to really think about, I guess, symbolically what it's about, and not just the good time, which we're just really all hoping to have.
I hear that. I will like to say, like, even though like 2020 was fantastic, 2016 New Year's was the worst time of my entire life. And I don't
Oh my
guys
days.
I'm not
We're
happy.
going through your greatest hits of New Year's.
Literally,
I
like
love it.
it's not good every time. Like 2016, we were sold lies, and I'm still upset about it 5 years later now. But because we you know, when someone gives you the advertisement of what like a rave is going to be, and they give you like that little movie, they kind of make a movie of how it's going to look, the little trailer for the rave.
Yeah.
It was all lies, and it was the worst night ever. And it was terrible.
Do you know, I've never had a bad New Year's, but I think it's just because I've never put myself in a position to have a bad New Year's. So I could hand on my heart and just say I've always had a good one. Whether it's been at a house party, whether it's been with family, whether we went to church, like everything has always been fine for me.
That's
Touch
nice.
wood, wherever wood
So
is.
you're saying
and
New
keep
Year's
going.
Eve is all about setting the right expectations?
I think so.
Okay.
I feel like I don't know if I should have the final word on that, but yeah, I think so. I think so. I'll definitely agree with that.